I know how it hopeless. And I want to say that I've been in the White House, I've been involved in this process, and the approach is fundamentally different. Now, both on the tactical level, but also on sort of the emotional level. In the previous administration, Israel was perceived as being part of the problem, not part of the solution. We were not quite allies, and I think you understand that the title of my last book had a certain amount of cynicism to it. This administration, the love is genuine, and there are people around the president who know us quite well and are deeply invested here spiritually, emotionally, even, you know, they're mishpachali involved here. And, is that a word? And,
it is now.
But their boss wants a deal. And he's very serious, and the people around him are very serious. They're not the people, here's where we get to the tactical differences. They're not the people we're used to. They're not my friends, Dennis Ross, they're not Martin Indyk, they come from the world of business. And, you know, you saw an immediate result of this in that Trump has refrained from saying what the outcome of the negotiations are going to be, because you don't do that in business. You maybe do it in diplomacy, but you don't do it in business. And we were talking backstage earlier, and I said the fact that, I said, to my mind, the cardinal mistake was made by Bush back in 2002 with the roadmap. And the roadmap did two very problematic things that we haven't been able to dig ourselves out of since 2002. First of all, it internationalized the peace process and brought in the Europeans, the UN, the Quartet, and the Russians. I mean, were you supposed to get anything done with that? And the second was it determined the outcome of the negotiations in advance. Two states, basically on the 67 lines. If I'm a Palestinian, how do I explain to my own people why I have to make concessions in that negotiations because they've already given me the outcome in advance? It was actually a huge disservice to the Palestinians. You got to think in a different way. They can't negotiate. And in fact, you know, for the last 8 years, they've negotiated for all of 6 hours. I was in those negotiations. They were really stimulating and brief, fortunately brief. But because we have removed so much of incentive, then along came Obama and compounded the problem by making a demand that no Israeli government could make, which was to freeze everything over the 67 lines. A Meretz government can't freeze everything in French Hill. And so it created a situation that not only that no Israeli government could meet, but no Palestinian could then negotiate and be less Palestinian than the President of the United States. Getting this? Everything is about not getting the Palestinians to the negotiating table. I personally am all about getting the Palestinians to the negotiating table. I'm about the deal too. And what I see with Trump is he's not making this demand of total freeze. He's telling us to show restraint. Let's show restraint. But he's keeping it very amorphous, keeping it vague. And with the outcome, he's saying self-determination. Let's keep it as vague as possible, because that's the way we're going to get back to the negotiating table. That creates space. Diplomacy is about space. And we have been constricting our space for the last 15 years. And I think that's why I'm guardedly hopeful. Here's where my concern is that there be realistic expectations about the outcome of the process. Looking back historically, and now looking around the region in a contemporary setting, I can adduce zero evidence that would support a case that the Palestinians are capable of sustaining a state structure tomorrow. I think if we give them a state tomorrow, it'll collapse within a matter of days, maybe hours. It'll fall to Hamas at best. ISIS is worse. And we're going to have a failed state on our borders that's going to threaten Jordan mortally and threaten us in all different ways. It's not going to help the Palestinians either.